Now, do not use this as an excuse to justify prejudice against others. But yes, our brains were designed to discriminate. Without that ability, we would not survive. When we talk about discrimination here, we are not speaking only about race, ethnicity, or religion. Those are just a few visible waves on the surface of a much deeper ocean. Discrimination is something the mind does constantly, whether we are aware of it or not, and spirituality is not about denying this tendency. It is about bringing it into awareness, softening its grip, and placing it where it belongs. So first, let's understand what discrimination really is. At its most basic level, discrimination simply means differentiation. Knowing the difference between an apple and an orange. You can do this because of the mind's logical discriminatory power. If you are standing in front of a bowl of fruit and you want to eat an apple, how do you know which one to choose? How do you even know what an apple is? The mind relies on memory, stored information, learned patterns. Every moment it makes countless conclusions, and based on those conclusions, it makes decisions, mostly on autopilot. To know whether you picked up a tennis ball or an apple, the mind compares what it sees with what it already knows. Using past information, it arrives at a verdict. This is an apple, and it is safe to eat. Thanks to this ability, we know what to eat and what to avoid, when to sleep, when to act, when to protect ourselves. In this sense, discrimination serves one primary function: survival. In the modern world, survival has expanded into comfort and convenience. That is why we constantly discriminate between financial options, choosing what benefits us most. Socially, we select people and situations that feel useful or safe and avoid those that seem harmful. It becomes a continuous calculation of what is good for this body and what should be avoided. To do this, the mind is always searching for cause and effect. It wants everything to have meaning, purpose, explanation. But when we live only inside this rational, survival-based reality, we slowly drift away from a deeper experience of life. One consequence of this is false pattern recognition. The mind begins to see meaning where there is none. Over time, this can turn into paranoia, a state where a mind always on high alert starts interpreting neutral patterns as hostile intentions. From there, mental chaos is never far away, and even a highly intelligent, rational, discriminatory mind will never truly satisfy you. It may provide survival, comfort, efficiency. But once those needs are met, the mind rarely rests. Instead, it expands its desires: more comfort, more security, more control, and eventually, this too leads to imbalance. So yes, this capacity has its place, but it is only a small part of human life. The problem is that for many people, the rational, discriminatory mind becomes the dominant or even the only way of living. So the real question is this: how do we keep this dimension of our existence in the right place? By increasing perception. Return again to the apple. The moment you see it, the analytical mind moves in. It names it, associates it with a word, a shape, a color, a taste, sweet or sour, ripe or rotten. But perception does not do this. Perception simply observes. No naming, no judging, no defining. When you perceive something as it is, not through memory but directly, you create distance from the discriminatory mind, and in that distance, life becomes fresh again. Because no matter how intelligent you believe yourself to be, discrimination always works with recycled information, not necessarily wrong, but old. Perception, on the other hand, is always new. It is like the first rays of sunlight entering your room in the morning, awakening, revealing, energizing. Your rational mind can take you only so far. Beyond a certain point, it no longer deepens your experience of life. Perception does. Perception opens a doorway to the unknown, available only in this moment. In the larger picture, perception is like the vast unseen cosmos, accessible only when you look up at the sky, not down at your own reflection. The rational mind is always focused on its reflection. It protects it, identifies with it, mistakes the mirror for reality. Perception looks beyond the mirror. Use perception as your way out of overwhelming discrimination.